Hello, my beautiful friends on the internet. Okay, welcome to the third video in this series. Okay, previously we actually created our project and also pushed it to GitHub, for so that we can actually access it and also get it later on for safekeeping, basically. And what we are going to be doing today now is to actually set up our project. So this, let me just see if I can imagine how the wallpaper app is going to look like. So sorry, I have not sketched this out. I'm too lazy for that. So the way it's going to be, it's going to be a wallpaper app with a splash screen. Okay, so from that splash screen, we are going to have a login page where you can just log in with Google Auth. That is if you have not yet created an account. So we are going to have a sign in page. Then if you have created an account, from the splash screen it will just take you to the main page. So from that main page, you're going to have a bottom navigation bar, and the bottom navigation bar is going to have two tabs. One is going to be the wallpaper, which is the home page, and also the other one is going to be the download, which is the purchased wallpaper that we had already. So the page is just going to be a list view, grid view actually. That is the home page. If you click on it, you're going to see the grid view of all the available wallpaper. And then for the downloads, you're going to see all the available wallpaper that you have already purchased or downloaded. Okay, so you're not going to see other person's own, just your own specifically. Okay, and then we are going to have another page that we are going to add a new, that is to upload a new wallpaper. So that's basically it. And also, once you click on the wallpaper to view, we are going to go to a page, and you click on apply or download, depending if it's paid or free. So once you click on that, it's going to bring out a bottom nav where we can actually apply the wallpaper to home page, to lock screen, or to both home page and lock screen. Okay, I think we got the concept. So that's what the project is going to be about. A very simple one. So I think the project structure too is not going to be that large. So the first thing I'm going to do, I'll go to my lib folder. Okay, uh, okay, first thing I want to do here is just to, okay, we're going to leave this. We are going to modify this stuff when we run our application, but now we are not running the app yet. Okay, so the first thing we are going to be doing, remember this, we are going to be using, okay, I think I need to first of all explain the dependencies we are going to be using for this project. So the first one is going to be, I'm actually using the latest version as of now. So we are going to be using Firebase dependencies. Yeah, we are going to be using that because we're going to be using Firebase services, and then we are going to be using and the Firebase we are going to be using is going to be Firebase Core, Firebase Auth, Cloud Storage, Cloud Firestore, Firebase Storage, and also we are going to be using Google Sign In. Yeah, yeah, that is for authenticating via Google authentication. Okay, for Firebase. So I think I'm just going to add those stuff real quick. I'm actually on the latest version, so you don't really need to worry. So you can actually, you can see I'm currently running on Flutter 2.10.5, and the dependency I'm using, they all support null safety, and they are all the latest ones. So you can see Firebase Core, Firebase Auth, Cloud Storage, Firebase Storage. Okay, and then secondly, we are going to be using a path provider, that is to save the files, the files locally, that is to download it then, because you cannot just apply a URL like an online image as a wallpaper. We need to first of all download it to our device local path before we can apply it as a wallpaper. So we'll be using the path provider for that, and it's going to help us to actually accomplish that, to add it to our storage. Okay, and then we are going to be using Flutter Wallpaper Manager. So this Flutter Wallpaper Manager, what it does is that it helps us to set up wallpaper for our application. Okay, home screen, lock screen. So you can check it on pub.dev. Flutter Wallpaper Manager. I actually saw many of them, but I think this one is actually the best to use because it actually gave me all I want. But I think it only supports Android for now. So maybe later on I will look for an alternative for iOS, because for now I'm not really developing for iOS. Alright, but that will be later. Yeah, we are actually going to start developing for iOS later on. Then we'll be using Flutter Paystack, okay, for accepting payments, and then we'll be using Provider for state management. So this state management is not going to be that complex, just simple thing, but we are going to see how to use it. And then we are going to be using a file picker because the users are going to be uploading the wallpaper, so they need to select it from their device. So we'll be using file picker to select that, and then finally the Google sign in dependency. So I don't think there's any other thing we are going to need here. Everything is already set up. So these are the dependencies we are going to be using for this project. Okay, so to make everything fast now, I'm going to create the folder structure, how it's going to be like. So we'll be using the first one is going to be constant. So this constant is basically where I put my URL, my keys and stuff like that. So you can actually create a key.dat where we're going to save our key. But for now, we are not going to create that because we are going to be adding a Paystack key there for testing. Okay. Then secondly, I create a payments page. So I like separating the payments all together. So it's just going to be a one page that we can just score and then do whatever I want to do. It's not going to be part of the other UI. Okay, so it's just going to make things simple and simple. Then we have our provider. So this provider, what I normally put here is more like my managing states, my, because I'm using provider package, so more like run all my logic there, and also like my business logics, and also I also use the database. But for this, you're not going to be using database provider because automatically Firebase actually use SQLite, so it more like caches those data for us. So we don't need to bother about users email or users ID to store it. No, it's going to handle all that for us, and I'm not going to be using shell preference for this as well. So the next thing we are going to have is the screens. So I believe before now we already know what screens do. So screen is more like the view of our application. Okay, to actually show the view, the various pages. Okay, it's actually in view. So I'm actually missing something, which are the models where we store collections of data. But I'm not going to be using model for this project, so I don't think it's really necessary to add that. Okay, so you can look at my other video, which is, you can actually look at this video. I actually use models, so you can learn more about that, which is this playlist. I use models there. Okay, so you can actually learn more about that in that video. Okay, then the next thing we are going to be doing now is to create a util folder. So as I said before, utils class, this utils folder is actually used to store global functions that are used throughout the application. Okay, I normally store it inside this util class, like function that I know that everybody, like every pages are going to need it, so I put it there. More like, let's say we are creating a URL shortener or a URL launcher, we put it inside the utils class because that's what everyone is going to be used. Everybody is going to use. Then I also have the another one, which are widgets. So these widgets are basically yeah, global widgets as well, widgets that are used throughout the app, like a custom button. We are going to be creating a custom button for this custom button and stuff like that. Then lastly, if you want, you can create a styles folder. So from this styles folder, we can actually have something called colors.dat, and you can also have diamonds. I more like, because I'm coming from Android background, so I call these diamonds, like, yeah, I like more like create my font sizes, text sizes and stuff like that. But we are not going to be using diamonds for this. We're only going to be using colors, and the color we are going to be using, I think, is just going to be blue. So I can just call this one color. Okay, yeah, just color.blue. But since Flutter app by default is actually blue, so I don't really think there's any need to do that, but we can actually do it if we want. So just call it color, then we say blue. So here you can create as many colors as you want. Okay, so there is no issue. Just create as many colors as you want. Colors of blue. Then we can always call this blue to actually apply the color. If we want to change the color, or I can just call, instead of blue, let me just call it primary color. Okay, like so. So we can actually change this color anytime we want, and the app colors are going to change automatically. So guys, this is the few things I wanted to show us. But before we stop this part, I need to push this code to GitHub. So we're just going to add it and then give it the proper commit message, and I can say added. Okay, project structure. Okay, I'm very poor at writing messages, so just a project structure. Okay, and dependencies. Okay, I just say added. Oops. Okay, let me just say added project structure and dependencies. Okay, so we hit enter, it's going to add it, then we can now push it. Just use one git push, and it's going to be pushed to GitHub. So if you go to your page now, and if you go to your GitHub repository now, and you're going to see, just refresh this page, you're going to see more like so we have 17 seconds ago. So if you go to your prospect.yml file, you're going to see that we added all the dependencies that are needed. Okay, so this is it, guys. In the next section, we are going to actually add set up Firebase. Okay, we are going to connect our application to Firebase and then get everything running. All right,